Today. Remember how I said, hey, the quizzes should have been easy? This is where now we start to get into a little bit harder. So make sure that you take good notes today. Fair enough? Evaluate means substitute, right? When we are evaluating, we are usually substituting in. Everywhere that there's an x, I am substituting in that 3. Notice how I put it in parentheses. -2 times a 3 plus 4 plus 7. Okay? So now, I do my multiplication. Well, first I'm going to do what's inside the parentheses. That gives me -2 plus 7 plus 7. This is 9. Now I have 9 minus 2 times 7. So now I have 9 minus 14 plus 7. That gives me -5 plus 7, which is +2. Questions there? Yes, no? You're going to have to be able to do that and do this. Both of these are going to be things that you have to do. Then I'm going to distribute, so I'm solving. Step 1, find the balance point. Step 2, distribute if needed. Well, we do. So now I have 5x plus 3x plus 3. Step 3, combine on the same side, right? So now I have the 5x plus the 3x, which is 8x plus 3, bless you, equals 19. Combine constants on opposite sides, subtract 3 from both sides. That leaves me 8x equals 16. I divide by 8. X equals 2. What questions do we have there? Does anybody know what happened to Violet? Like, she came in this morning to take a test. Any clue? Okay. Don't worry about it. Are we good here? Can I erase? Yes, no? Love when you guys talk to me. It makes me so happy. Okay. So, today's objective, I don't know what just happened. Today's objective is to solve systems by substitution. So far, you know one way to solve systems, and that is by graphing. Okay? Graphing is great because it's pretty easy. You know how to put things in slope-intercept form, you know how to do that. The problem with graphing, though, is it's not very accurate. Just like you did on your test, and I watched you. Some of you had to erase and then make a line again because it wasn't intersecting perfectly, right? So that works when our answers are whole numbers like 2, 3. What if the answer was 3/4, 3? Could you do that on a graph? Do you know exactly where 3/4 is? Probably not. So it's not very accurate for all the problems. So the way that we're going to learn today, which is substitution method, is very accurate. You can get decimals and fractions, everything with it. So remember when I said, let's take good notes. Okay, it's very accurate. You must be good at solving equations. I'm still getting used to this. I don't know why. Okay, so very accurate, but you must be good at solving equations.
So what was the first?
Graphing, easy.
Ways to solve what?
Systems. Okay. Okay. The directions will say solve by substitution. We are not graphing. And let me tell you why you don't really want to graph. You want to have a graph that goes all the way down to negative 11. It's going to be a big graph, right? So some of these, even though you could graph them, it's a pain in the butt to graph them, which is why there are other methods that are more accurate. Okay? So step one, and this is important. When we are solving by substitution, one of the two equations must have isolated either x or y. Isolate means what?
By itself.
Get it by itself. Do either of these equations have x or y by themselves on one side? Which one?
Negative 2x.
Huh?
Negative 2x.
That has a negative 2x and a negative 3y. There's stuff on that side. What about the top equation? It just says y equals 6x. So y is by itself. It's saying y is 6x minus 11. One of the two equations needs to have a variable isolated. In this case, y is isolated. Do you understand what I say isolated? Y is completely by itself on one side. It has nothing else over there. Like this x has a negative 2, this y has a negative 3, and the negative, okay, has too much stuff on the same side. Y is 6x minus 11. Once you have it isolated, you're saying, okay, I am now taking that and substituting it in to the second equation. So step one is finding an isolated thing. We have it. Okay? Step two is substitute into second equation. So I have negative 2x minus 3. What is y? Y is what? Says y is 6x minus 11. Everywhere I see a y, I'm going to replace it with 6x minus 11. This goes in to y. This is the second equation with it substituted in. You'll see a bunch of examples. It's not the easiest thing, but it's not hard either. So now we have an equation. Do you remember how many weeks and months we worked on equations every single day? Me saying, okay, step one, we're going to find the balance point. Step two, we're going to distribute if needed. Step three, combine like terms on the same side. Step four, combine variables on opposite sides. Like, I did that over and over and over because we knew at some point it was going to come back. So now we're solving this equation. So step three is solve. So I'm going to distribute. I'm going to change colors here. So now I have negative 2x minus 18x plus 33. Combine like terms on the same side. That gives me negative 20x plus 33 equals negative 7. So now I subtract 33 from both sides. That gives me negative 20x equals negative 40. How do I solve for x? I divide negative 20, negative 20. X equals 2. Wow. We're still not even close to done. X equals 2. We're going to spend probably like a week and a half on this, guys. Like, I can see you guys kind of glazing over. You got to know this, okay? X equals 2. So now we've solved. Step 4. Sub back into first equation. Okay, so now we're getting our first equation. What letter don't we have right now? Well, we have x. What don't we have?
Y.
Y. So we're looking for y. We have y equals 6x minus 11. Well, my x is now getting substituted in. We know what x is. We solved for x, so we're substituting it back in. So now I have y equals 6 times 2, because minus 11, because 2 is my x. 6 times 2 is 12 minus 11. So now I have y equals 12 minus 11, y equals 1. If you leave this as an answer, it's going to get marked wrong. We're solving a system. Even though we're not graphing, we're looking for the intersection, which is an ordered pair. The ordered pair is 2, 1. There's a lot of steps. Today, we are just going to keep doing these steps. You're not going to have homework today. All we're going to do are these steps. Everybody with me? And it's all right if you're not. Like, truly, if you're like, hey, I don't understand a thing, that's fine. Today, that's going to be fine. Today's just about examples. May I erase this?
Not yet.
Okay, you let me know. We're going to just do easy ones today. Okay? You good? Arlo, you good? Okay. Let's do another one. We're going to have 3x minus 8y equals 24, and y equals 5x minus 3. Okay. Say it again. I gave one to somebody because they didn't have it. I was being nice.
No, you shouldn't.
I'm pretty sure I gave it to Liam, who lost it.
That's
No,
what
I
I'm
didn't.
saying,
I
you
didn't.
shouldn't.
I didn't lose it.
And then I won one off of Ed, but I didn't take it. Okay, here we go. So, before we start, it's going to say solve by substitution. I'm not writing solve by substitution. I'm not. But right now, just looking at it, the first question you need to ask yourself is either one of those equations solved or isolating one of the variables? Is a variable completely by itself in either of those equations?
Y.
Yes.
In which one? Top and bottom? In.
Bottom.
The bottom one has y by itself. So this is what we would call solved. It's solved for y. Then I can start reading it as y is 5x minus 3. Step 2 is substitution. We're substituting into what letter?
Why?
Very good. It goes in to y. So step 2 is substitute in. So now I have 3x minus 8 parenthesis, because y is more than just one thing. Y is 5x minus 3. Then I finish it off by equals 24. So substitution, like the method is called substitution. You will be substituting in over and over and over and over and over. Okay, we good here. So now we are solving our equation. I'd like you to solve the equation. Take 20 seconds to get going on it, and then I'll follow up behind and
Wait,
solve it as well.
can we get a minute?
Sure, you can have a minute.
Mm, 8 times.
Sure.
Hey.
Because I want to put like that, like. I know that I'm supposed to do this, like, am I allowed to?
You have to distribute first. So when we're solving equations, you have to distribute if needed first. That's always going to be our first step.
Where's the sugar?
Multiply.
That was a bug.
Do you have a question, Judah?
How do we end it?
I think I'm doing this.
Because negative 2
Wrong.
minus 18 is negative 20x. Yep, you're right. So
Oh.
negative 2
Thinking.
minus 18.
Yeah, I'm not,
You're right.
yeah, I'm not thinking.
That's it. Okay, here we go. So now I'm going to distribute. So that gives me 3x drops down. Negative 40x plus 24 equals 24. Combined give me negative 37x plus 24 equals 24. Everybody with me to that point?
Yeah.
So now I subtract 24 from both sides. That gives me negative 37x equals 0. I divide by negative 37. X equals 0. So this was step 3, which was solve.
Hey.
Okay. Step 4.
Oh.
Sub into first equation. So now we're substituting into the first equation again. Okay, so the first equation was y equals 5x minus 3. But we now know what x is. X is 0. So I do y equals 5 times 0 minus 3. Y equals 0 minus 3. Y equals negative 3. So step 5 is really solve again. Okay? And then step 6 is my solution. What's my solution? Well, it's 0, comma negative 3. How are we doing? All right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll give you a minute. I'm going to give you these. So it's two sides with two different examples. Okay? I wouldn't necessarily use these yet.
I don't think I'm just.
May I erase this? Yes, are we good?
Can you do another one?
Oh, we're definitely going to do another one. But you guys are going to do this one. You're going to at least try.
Wait, where do you go after this?
6 out.
And then lunch.
5 out.
But
Oh, this pepperoni better be worth it.
Okay, here we go. So, I want to see how far can you make it while you're doing these. You guys can talk about them. Okay,
Yeah.
let's focus on this problem first, and then you guys can talk about the pep rally. So try this one on your own or as a group. Just talk about it. I don't care. I want to see how far can you get using the steps using that sheet I just gave you. Okay, stop. I think everybody needs to stop for a second. So, what's different about this problem?
The X is the isolated.
Oh, X is isolated. So X is already solved for. X is 2y plus 11. So it's going in for X. It goes in for the X. So step 2 is sub into the equation. So now I'm going to have negative 7 times, because X is 2y plus 11 minus 2y equals negative 13. Here's a quick way to know if you've done it correctly or not. If you substitute in and you still have two different variables, did you substitute in correctly? Notice how all my variables are now y. Does that make sense? So when you substitute in, you're eliminating one of the variables. Okay, so now we're here. Go ahead and solve. Keep going from there. Remember today, if you leave going, man, I'm still really confused. That's all right today. Today is just our ground starting. We're just going to get started with it. We're going to do these a lot. Let's go one more minute just to finish up and solve for the y. So we're just solving this equation. Okay, so I'm distributing first. That's negative 14y minus 77 minus 2y equals negative 13. Combine like terms on the same side. Negative 2y minus 14y. That gives me negative 16y minus 77 equals negative 13. I'm going to need your help. So what's negative 13 plus 77?
64.
Positive, right?
Yep.
Then I divide by negative 16. That gives me y equals negative 4. So that was step 3, which was solve. Step 4, sub into first equation. So now I have x equals 2y plus 11. This y is going in there. So now I have x equals 2 times negative 4 plus 11 gives me x equals negative 8 plus 11, x equals negative 3. So then I'm going to solve, so this is step 5. Step 6 is your solution. Make sure you put x comma y first. So it's negative 3 comma negative 4. What questions do you have there? You're gonna do one more on your own. Okay, we're not gonna go over this today. This is it. Not homework, but I want this done so that we can go over it on Tuesday. Everybody with me? Okay, here we go.
What should I do with it?
9 minutes.
We're not here on Monday.
You are not here on Monday. Okay, here we go.
Here's the next step.
2x minus 3y equals negative 1. X equals y plus 1. So, I want you guys starting on this. Work together if you need to. We will go over this on Tuesday. Love you guys. Go.